Greetings, denizens of the tri-state area. Jacob Weil here.
Hey, I'm Blue Dragon 5.
And Dragon, I know what we're going to do today. We're going to activate the Recap-inator and discuss my favorite cartoon, Phineas and Ferb. That's right. In honor of the 15th anniversary and in preparation for the upcoming revival, I'm guiding Blue Dragon 5 here through the series, experiencing his reactions watching it for the first time, and reliving my summer memories throughout the years. Today's episodes are Crack That Whip and The Best Lazy Day Ever. First episode, Crack That Whip, is story by Bobby Gaylor, Martin Olson, storyboards by Timothy Bjorklund and Kim Robertson, and directed by Dan Bobenmeyer. So, how you coming down on this one, Dragon?
Yeah, this is a fine episode. The A-plot, not my favorite. It's not bad. It's just not my favorite. It's kind of a little by the numbers. In terms of like the whole, the rollerblading of it all. It's like, it's okay. Just really no substance there.
Okay. How about the Doofenshmirtz stuff?
Loved it so much. The Doofenshmirtz stuff was on fire this week. It was excellent.
I kind of figured you'd like both of these.
Well, to be fair, the Doofenshmirtz stuff, I think maybe once, and I'd have to. We've done so many of these, they're kind of blending a little bit in terms of which one is which. But there's like one. I think we may have just had one Doofenshmirtz plot that didn't really pan out. Everything else has just been great.
Yep, I don't exactly remember which one you're talking about, of course. But
yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. It was probably, honestly, the case, it was probably something which we really made it brief. That was probably, I remember we had like a really dumb plan on Doofenshmirtz's part. Maybe it was that, but I have to go back to be sure.
That doesn't really narrow it down.
I know it does. That's why I'm unsure. Yeah. Okay.
All right. This is Timothy Bjorklund's only episode, and I don't know if you recognize his name, but he's best known for his work on directing Teacher's Pet. The cartoon.
Oh, I'm very aware of Teacher's Pet. Jacob is.
He directed basically every episode of the TV of the series and directed the movie.
Oh, he did the movie too. That's cool.
Yep, I think that's his only thing he ever did for theaters. It's a great movie though, so.
Yep.
But this is his only work on this show.
All right.
So that's interesting. All right. So you want to get into it then?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
All right. So we get opening with this compelling speech of Thimbles.
Yes, so Lawrence is rehearsing his speech for the Great Thimble Symposium. Jacob, it's a symposium, so you know it's important.
Oh, the Antique Thimble Symposium.
Yes, and we have Grandma Betty Jo and Grandpa Clyde.
Yep, and Grandma pretends to snore like, oh, that's very cool.
I love that Carolina Reed does the voice of Betty Jo as well.
Yep. It's kind of interesting, kind of funny how that works out.
Yeah.
Of course, Barry Bostwick returns as Grandpa Clyde.
Yeah.
Which as this episode even is reunites the Rocky Horror alumni.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty nice. They barely interact, but it's you can definitely see like the love for it in the room with Dan, as far as Dan and Swampy goes. They're both huge fans of it. So of course, like Candace and Stacy are at the park rollerblades. Like, you want to go to the park and embarrass your sister? Yeah.
Okay, so that bit right there, honestly, that's kind of a quibble I have with the episode. That feels out of character. It feels like the boys is like, yeah, let's embarrass Candace. Like, they don't really go for that sort of thing.
That's what little brothers do, Dragon. They embarrass their sisters.
Well, yeah, but like not like intentionally.
To be fair, they didn't go out of their way to do it. But they did. To be fair, all Phineas did was say, "Hi, Candace." To be fair, he didn't really do anything to. You've never been in a situation where you just embarrass somebody out of familial love.
I don't know if I make it like hey, let's plan this. Let's plan the embarrassment.
I mean, like I said, I don't think it's really that big of a deal,
Well, of
honestly.
course you don't feel it's a big. That's big a deal. It's that big of a
I mean,
deal.
Dragon, I've always been the younger sibling.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so I was like, so I know what it's all about.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I've been the younger sibling. I know what it's like to like. I mean, I've never intentionally embarrassed my sister, but my older sister, but they've always done it to me, so I've always been more on the receiving end. Anyway, before I reveal more about my personal life, Stacy is like actually doing pretty good, but Candace is like just flailing her legs everywhere, trying to stay upright.
Yep.
And of course, we see Ferb's prowess as a skater too, as a roller skater too.
And what isn't Ferb good at?
That is a good point.
You know.
There's only one thing we know that Ferb fears:
And what is that?
the dentist.
Yep.
Seriously, in a later episode, it's like he reveals he's afraid of the dentist.
For good reason.
Yeah, it's a reasonable fear.
Yep.
But that is a good point. Verb is basically an everyman. He can basically do anything.
Well, no, he's not an everyman. He's a Renaissance man.
Oh, that too.
I think an everyman is like an average Joe. Like he's not every man is exceptional.
Oh yeah, I meant to say something. I did mean Renaissance man.
Okay.
Ferb is a regular modern day. Well, technically, both the boys are kind of Renaissance men or Renaissance boys, but Ferb, yeah, is like obviously has a greater skill when it comes to the rollerblading. Then Grandma runs into her old rival, Hildegard.
Yes.
What'd you make of Hildegard?
So I love the reveal that Hildegard is Jeremy's grandmother.
Yep. And you know who Vicky Lawrence is?
Yeah, but I'm blanking on what. I don't know the name because there's a Vicky Lewis, which is not her, but there's a Vicky Lewis and there's a Vicky Lawrence, and I have trouble
Yeah.
determining.
Well, Vicky Lawrence was like Thelma Harper on the Carol Burnett show.
Right? Yeah. No,
She
that's
was
great.
she was also in Laverne and Shirley.
Uh huh.
So, yep, and she voices Hildegard.
Cool.
like,
So we
yep,
have a flashback to '57, the great roller rink, kind of roller derby event of '57 that ignited their rivalry because basically it was an anything goes match, and the big equivocation is like she very clearly, very obviously cheated, but it said anything goes. So
I guess punching someone in the face was within the rules.
yeah, but very unsportsmanlike.
Yep. Technically unsportsmanlike, but still technically within the rules, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a rematch between the feuding grannies.
Yep, and they roped their grandchildren into it.
Yep, and of course, with all the grandchildren, we have the return of Susie.
Little Susie Johnson,
Little Susie
Buf-
Johnson.
who is Buford's worst fear.
That's true, and also she's kind of the Phineas and Ferb version of Darla Dimple.
Kinda, yeah, except she doesn't, try and drown animals.
Well, we don't know what she does outside the show, outside like little 10-minute kind of like little previews we get. Again, great reboot time, Jacob.
Really reboot time. But the thing is, we know what Darla Dimple did. We straight up see what she tried to do.
That is true, but little Susie here again, like she's building, she's got machinations going on here, man. She built some devious little rocket power skates. We don't know what the magnitude of what this little like 2 foot tall girl is capable of. We don't know.
I mean, she's more of a manipulator than anything else.
That's true, but pure evil all the same.
Yeah, she is. She's like evil on the clock sometimes, like because obviously you see her like around Jeremy.
Yep.
like so gritty reboot time.
Okay.
So is that it or
Well, yeah, that was it. I said, offhand, that's essentially what she's doing. She's building, she's building stuff and everything. Yeah.
Okay, ready reboot. Time's over. It's like, so of course she uses her childlike charms to rope Candace into the whole thing. I think
Yep.
we have LEB's like I ended right in the middle of the intense grandma competition discussion.
As it should be.
Yes, as it should be.
Okay. So let's see. So Phineas and Ferb, they build a roller derby because the original one. This idea really is charming. The original one got turned into, for some reason, a giant tattoo. Well, there is no reason a tattoo parlor would need that much space ever.
I mean, maybe it's a very, very fancy tattoo parlor.
Come on, like you don't need that big a space for a tattoo parlor.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, maybe there's a lot of people there.
Like you need that for like a tattoo convention, which is a real thing, by the way.
I mean,
That's
I don't doubt that. I mean, I think I saw those on Jeff Goldblum once. The world according to Jeff Goldblum.
that's true.
Did
Which,
he
by the
go-
way, a moment of silence for it.
Is that one of the ones that's getting the axe?
Yep, it's getting the X. I think after the 28th.
It's leaving.
Yeah.
A moment of silence.
Okay.
Moment's over.
Yeah.
It's just
All
because that show's great.
Yep. Okay, so let's talk about the doof.
The doof. Like how Perry, and what about how Perry like ships himself?
Yeah.
Basically, he puts himself in a package. He goes to the ship, goes to the place. He flies. The ship flies, and then flies back, and then goes in the mailbox down to his lair. Like Agent Pete has an elevator right over there. But what is the doof's plan, Dragon?
Okay, this is great. This is the most priceless part of the episode. So it's a very relatable idea that Doofenshmirtz of Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated. He's having an off day, like we all often do, and he has a splitting headache from an evil mixer last night.
It's a lot of people have come as like it's actually like a hangover.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, it's not explicitly stated, but a lot of people say it's an evil mixer, late night, splitting headache. It's like it has all of the ingredients to be considered a hangover.
Yep. And he has like this great thing where he kind of cliff notes the backstory this time, or like his childhood memories, where he's just like, oh no, it hurts the flashback. Let me just. I've always been basically he's always been jealous of beards, especially one beard in particular, Jacob.
Rutherford B. Hayes. Basically, they erected a statue of Rutherford B. Hayes of all people next to his building.
Yep,
and
of course.
Like, our 19th president who has the best beard of all the presidents.
No beard's better than 19th century beard, Barry the Platypus.
And I mean, he has a point. They did beards. They did beards differently back then.
So the plan, so hilariously, is to use the Bread-inator to turn the statue into bread and sick a flock of hungry magpies to the bread to eat it.
Gotta admit, it is a pretty creative idea. I mean,
one could say he's gonna feed the birds, tuppence a statue.
Yes. Mary Poppins.
All right. Okay. So it's just really funny here. He's gonna use the bread-nator. Let's see. So of course, but the best part is he just kind of gets. Well, we'll circle back to the resolution to all this later. Meanwhile, Cass and Jeremy, they're having a good time.
Like during the race and all that. And of course Stacy puts it into her head that boys hate to lose to girls.
Yeah, you gotta admit, it's kind of nice to see that things end up turning up Millhouse for Candace this episode. Things are working in her favor and blowing up in Susie's face.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah, it's nice.
It is kind of nice to see Candace kind of get one up on Susie.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't get the bust on Phineas and Ferb, but she did get her catch.
So that's another thing too with the formula. It's like we just threw it in there just for the sake of is just checking the box in this episode. It's like really, she had no reason to even want to bust them. It just feels like man, Cass had a lot of progress this episode, and then we set her back. We just couldn't help ourselves. Like this time, there's literally Grandma and Grandpa approved this. Okay, there is no bust here, Candace. Get it through your head. Of course, we're going to see the ramifications of this sort of thing and go full grade reboot in the next episode, but we're not there yet.
Oh god.
Anyway, so let's see. Okay, let's talk about Grandpa. Grandpa's the color commentator, which is a very cute, awesome gig.
Orange, purple, chartreuse.
I love that. That's a good joke.
Which is I have to admit, are good colors.
Yeah. He's good at his job.
Yep. I mean,
Right.
even he was told to provide color commentary, and what do you know?
So ultimately, things result in a tie, which leads to our little moral here that we all had fun. Maybe it was a little bit more than just the rivalry and everything, but they're still gonna equivocate till the end of time. Well, given how old they are, maybe like half the end of time. Who won the tie?
Yeah, I mean, technically, I would go with Betty Joe on this one because
I would too, because she has no way of getting across the finish line if she's not hoisted on Betty Joe.
Yeah, because Hildegard kind of was riding on top of her, so technically, it shouldn't even really been a tie in the first place.
Yeah.
So, but of course they decide to race to the Rutherford B. Hayes statue. To bring that into the fray.
Yes, so hilariously, Doofenshmirtz, he's just not feeling it, man. He's gonna realize, you know what? This is just a wash, okay? And you can just tell, okay, Jacob, throw the other graphic up, the other banner up of the creators. Hey guys, Dan, Swampy, Dan. Just want to say, I saw what you did there. I can see what you're doing. That's just Dan Povenmire just kind of improvising, feeling some oats a little bit on Doofenshmirtz. It feels like this just feels like just him in the booth, just saying, okay, let's just call it out. It's like, okay, that's enough. Better than Octopus. It's a wash. Okay, let's just Ray on, Ray off. Let's go home. I'll be more evil next time. I love that. It's just great. I love that performance. I love how it's just this feels like this is the guy who knows this character like the back of his hand. Just like that. You know what? No, just not this week. No.
Good night, Perry the Platypus.
Yeah.
Yeah. He only gets better from here, if you ask me.
Absolutely.
Remember for the movie he was nominated for an Emmy Award.
Yep.
He didn't win, unfortunately, but
sadly.
I forget who. I have to look up who actually won that year.
All right, let's see. So, because of this, the beam was shot off and then turned off. When it was shot off, it's reflecting off of. There's always two guys walking with a giant pane of glass in a mirror.
Yeah, there's a satellite in the sky.
Yeah, there's always one of those two things. Anyway, of course, after everything's said and done, Candace, for some reason, still has to bust them, or at least try and bust them. And it's just like they built a giant boomerang, which I guess is like the name for the derby kind of setup. I guess.
Although I would actually love to see them build a giant boomerang.
I would too. I have seen a giant boomerang though,
like an actual functioning one.
Well, I mean, not in real life, Jacob. That's crazy. No, I mean like in animation. The Captain Boomerang is a giant death trap from the comics. They brought in animation where he has a giant boomerang.
Oh, I mean, well, because even though technically there is a giant boomerang later on in this show, but Phineas and Ferb didn't make it.
Right. Okay, so my point is, she's they built the giant roller rink essentially.
Yeah.
She runs inside, then she comes out, and then now it's just randomly a giant loaf of bread. I love how she sounded crazier than usual to Linda. It's a giant loaf of bread.
Yep.
Then of course the magpies, feast on and do clean up on it, and then it's like you can tell the writers is having a lot of fun coming up with like, okay, how can we make Candace look absolutely certifiable and get rid of things in a flash instantaneously in a way that somewhat makes sense?
And LEB makes a point here that we could build a giant boomerang in real life, but you couldn't throw it.
Well, LEB, that's just negative thinking to think you can't throw a giant boomerang you build in real life. I mean,
You
come
just
on.
you just need to build a giant arm.
Yeah, well, or maybe it's a giant slingshot, but
Well, that works too, I guess.
now to be fair, of course, when it comes back, it's going to wipe out civilization, so you might not want to, just be it's launched and then it's coming back.
You just have to catch it first.
My leg.
You just have to catch it first, Dragon.
Oh yeah, I guess that's why you need the giant arm versus the giant slingshot.
Yep. See?
Yep. Okay.
Forward, forwards and backwards thinking. That's what I do.
There you go. Okay, like an Australian toilet. Okay, so
I don't know. Should I take that as a compliment?
I think you should just take it where it lands. So
Okay.
that brings
That's probably not the first time my mind's ever been compared to a toilet.
I believe that. Okay, so that brings us to the next episode.
All right. Well, first is actually we haven't finished yet because remember, the boots go off the rocket boots that rocket skates that Susie gave Ken is backfire again. I think she lands in Jeremy's arms
Uh-huh.
for providing the line. Nice catch, Jeremy. Yes, he is.
It's a little forced, but it's cute.
It is cute. And now that brings us to the next episode. The best lazy day ever. Story by Martin Olson, Bobby Gaylor, written storyboard by John Colton Berry, Mike Roth, and Zach Moncrief directed. And the boys decide to finally do nothing. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I love this episode so much. It's great. It's refreshing. It's got a little SpongeBob-esque.
Yeah.
Got a lot going for it. I love it.
Yep. And of course, there's has a great Doofenshmirtz plot as well. What do you so? Speaking of which, Vance Ward, the actor that Doofenshmirtz captured, is voiced by Diedrich Bader.
I know, a fact that I enjoyed quite a great. There's oh my god, that's Diedrich Bader. Which, by the way, little aside, Diedrich Bader, he's been showing up a little bit lately. He was on Bob Odenkirk's new show. He was on Lucky Hank.
Oh, nice.
Played his friend, so he had kind of a good role.
And yeah, go on.
I love when Diedrich Bader shows up in things. Guy's an underrated. He was really good in that show, and Diedrich Bader has so much untapped potential. He had the sitcom he was on. I don't think it's still on, but I could be wrong. I think it's like the I don't know. It's like American Housewife or something. It's like the I don't know the whatever the show he's doing now. The most recent show that he did aside from Lucky Hank. It was he was on a sitcom for a while. He was good on that too, from the little bit that I saw. Anyway, yeah.
I have no idea. But yeah, it's technically Diedrich Bader does end up voicing a recurring character starting in season 2.
Really?
Yeah, it's not Vance Ward, but he does start voicing another character as of starting in mid season 2. So this is and because they had a positive time working with him, he actually voiced another more recurring character in Dennis Lumpy's next show, Milo Murphy's Law.
Of course, I love that Diedrich Bader is a staple of some of my favorite shows. I mean, of course, Buzz Lightyear Star Command. He is the great Warp Dark Matter. Of course, a lot of people love him as he's an excellent Batman.
Yep.
Brave and the Bold.
Oh yeah. And also Harley Quinn.
For sure, yeah. Admittedly, I'm not crazy about the direction of Batman in season 3 of Harley Quinn, but yeah.
But the point is he still voices Batman in Harley Quinn.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Diedrich Bader's done a lot. I wouldn't say, and I honestly wouldn't call him underappreciated, but he is, because he is all over the place. But that his talent's getting more recognized as time goes on. All right, so How would you like to actually start with the episode? How would you have actually liked to see their backyard train station?
I mean, pretty much like Disney's backyard.
Yeah, that really would have been.
Yeah.
And of course, like Perry would have been Perry the platypus would have been the mascot. Della Perry in his little conductor's hat, or little, or whatever it's called.
Also, I think it's just a conductor's hat. So.
Yep. But of course, they get outside and realize it's basically the perfect day just to stand around and do nothing. Everything in nature is just going, ah.
It's weather.
Yes.
Yep, it's just weather.
Like where everything in nature seems to simultaneously just relaxing and breathing a sigh of relief.
Mm-hmm.
And also somebody's going to the dentist or doctor and getting a tongue compress.
Yep.
Which probably isn't just relaxing. So they just decide that they do something amazing every day, and they've never just relaxed. And so they just decide to just stand there and do nothing. Which ends up driving Candace crazy. Because at first she sees them like just standing there. It's like they're standing there like statues. And like, what do you make of the whole like it's a great idea for just put these statues here to fool Candace. And when she thinks we're not, she's just doing nothing. And then when she looks away, we'll do something.
So this was just utterly priceless, just that delivery. And again, this episode, Great Reboot writes itself in 2 moments. I mean, this being one of them. Bring it up.
Great reboot time.
I mean, this is what we've been saying the whole time. This is like kind of that later season SpongeBob thing. This is like the whole like, what if there was a twinge of intentional maliciousness there? You know, what if it was just the whole like, we're gonna drive Candace crazy?
Yeah, I mean, and instead of it just being in her imagination, it'd be for real.
Yeah, exactly. Just
like the twist would be Candace was right.
oh, they can't. No, here's the real twist. The twisted twist is at the end there. It's like, hey, Candace, we know you're on to us. We know you found all this out, but here's the gag. You'll never be able to prove it. If they just rubbed it in like that, yeah, we know. Like, yeah, we're not that oblivious, Candace. We know exactly what's going to happen each week, and we know we've been putting you through this. You know, and we know that you can't have that happy little life with Jeremy. You can't help yourself.
It's like, speaking of which, so what do you think of that like idyllic life that Candace talks about?
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, she's I love the realization that Candace, she just, for the life of her, she cannot stop trying to bust the boys.
It's like an addiction to her.
Absolutely. I love we have this great sad moment of like, who is Candace?
Yeah, it's like face it, you can't do anything unless you're trying to bust them for doing something. But if they're doing nothing, then who is Candace? And of course, it's like, standing is doing something, and then they just lean backwards. Which, if you think about it, laying backwards, just laying down on the ground, is also doing something. But then again, that's just too technical at that point. So, all right. So of course, Candace is having trouble, and then the convenient commercial strikes again.
Oh yeah.
It's like the amazing man-eating dinosaur-themed, totally sick water slide of doom. Which does look pretty sick, though, you gotta admit.
I mean, it does. I mean, does it bother you that we did like 2 water park things in a row almost? I mean, I was separated by 1 episode. It was the fact that like, hey, we did a little water park and then this.
I mean, it doesn't really bother me, mainly because it's actually Candace that did it.
I mean, yeah, it's just another water park theme thing. A water slide in this case, but it's cool looking.
I mean, Phineas and Ferb's the previous one was definitely one that I'd go for more. I mean, don't get me wrong, the dinosaur themed one is pretty sick though. And of course, Candace even she manages to build that in a day, so she might have the same energy as her brothers do. Just it's just busting obsessed instead of creatively driven. And of course, like, aren't you a little old to be building this? Yes, I am. But of course, you get to the Doofenshmirtz Evil
Incorporated.
Yes, but first, what do you think of like Perry's in at the entrance this time, where it's like he just enters through the trash can, and then like Doofen and then Monogram and Carl just dancing, having a dance party.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and we just don't address it. Well, I mean, at least we kind of address it as the fact they don't care. They just go back to the dance party without even. It's a very pointless meeting.
It's like, hey, Carl, give me a close up. So, stop Doofenshmirtz.
There you go.
I get it, Carl. And then Barry's just like, why do I work for these people again? You can just see the look on Perry's face. It's like, why do I work for these people? But anyway, actually, back to Doofenshmirtz. He hits Perry with a slow motion-inator, which makes whoever it's hit by move extremely slowly. What'd you make of that?
I mean, it's a great reinvention of the trap.
Yeah, it's like, well, they don't have to trap you, so it works. It's like, if only you could invent like something that could make someone go extremely fast. I mean, it'd be harder to trap, but it would be pretty interesting to see how that works. But seeing Perry is just kind of funny. It even slowed down his theme song. But that isn't Doofenshmirtz's main goal, even though technically he could do a lot of damage with a slow motion-inator, if you think about it. Just slow down everybody until he can take over the tri-state area. But no, his goal is just to make everything ugly.
I love he doesn't blame his parents. The doctor said it was genetic, but I don't blame my parents.
I mean, have you seen his parents? I mean, you saw his parents already. So I was like, so he got pretty well. He's not a... And Doofenshmirtz isn't like offensively ugly or anything. I don't think so.
Yeah.
He's not handsome by any conventional means, but he's not, horrifically ugly. Even though he gets shot with the ugly-inator later, nothing changes about his face.
Yeah, that's a little harsh when you think about it. Ultimately, it's like, oh man. Here's the bigger question. Okay, you'd think later on the way we undo everything is you put something kind of better looking on the inside a little. I love the design of the ugly-inator, by the way. I love the logic of how it works. I just love conceptually everything about it. I love like the frog getting insulted with the ugly comments.
Yep.
So it's the idea that, well, Doofenshmirtz, why don't you just make yourself handsome? If that's why don't you try that?
Funny you should mention that.
Yeah.
Future episode.
Oh, get out of here. Really? Are we going to bring back the same device?
No, it's a different device, and it's actually an accident in that episode.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about, man. It's like, you'd think he did, at the very least, would be like, you remember this device I built? I approved it.
Like, no, he doesn't think that far ahead. But it's like, so in order to test it out, in order to test out the ugly-inator, he got handsome movie actor Vance Ward, as we mentioned, voiced by Diedrich Bader. And of course, his plan is to turn everyone uglier than him, from the comfort of his balloon, which has his favorite recliner and flat screen TV. Which you gotta admit, I would honestly love something like that myself. Just just a hot air balloon, floated floor, basically a recliner, flat screen TV. That'd be some easy living, don't you think?
Well, yeah, for sure.
The only thing that's missing is a mini fridge. You take a mini fridge up for some snacks and drinks, and you're good to go. Like so. And of course, Perry's still just moving incredibly slowly and everything. And of course, Candace puts together the dinosaur, like all the while boasting, like it's like, yeah, I'll make them, I'll show them how it's done, and then they'll want to jump in and fix it themselves. And she ends up building the whole thing. It's like, fun loves me more than it loves you right now. Basically, coming across as like, instead of actually doing something to try and bust them, she just ends up doing it herself.
Yeah, so again, that brings us back to the Gritty reboot here, where just the fact that Candace, I mean, she goes full on, like, we had to institutionalize this girl, right? I mean, it's just the fact that we have that moment with Stacy, like, Candace, I've been trying to call you all day. I'm trying to bust my brothers. What is it?
It's like where she completely forgot about Jeremy's concert.
Like, can't you see this, Stacy? Look at what they're doing. This is kind of the POV of any sane person looking at Candace.
Yeah. Certifiable. She's definitely certifiable in that regard. I mean, well, it doesn't get much crazier than her just like building something herself to try and get them in trouble. And of course, she almost missed the whole concert because of it. But fortunately, she doesn't miss much because they get ugly because both the concert and the crowd gets uglyified. They must be the opening act. It's like, what'd you make of those? What'd you make of like the uglyified Jeremy and the incidentals?
Well, real quick, I love the fourth wall gag with the incidentals. Just the fact that like they're background incidental characters that we're never really going to explore that much. So we just call them the incidentals. I think that's really funny.
It also plays on incidental music too.
That's even better.
Yeah, Jeremy does become more of a major character. He appears more. And he's not. Jeremy isn't really an incidental character, but more the background ones are.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's not the.
Yeah. So. But yeah, so it's like we do see the Jeremy's band more and more. We do see them a couple more times at least. Of course, as always, the Doofenshmirtz's invention carries away the giant water slide.
Conveniently.
Yeah, it was like, there's nothing in the instruction manual about it being carried away. Perry manages to grab the slow motion-inator, which of course Doofenshmirtz put a reverse switch on. Because, why wouldn't he? What do you think of Perry's ugly form?
I mean, it was ugly.
Yeah, it was ugly. Yeah, it definitely was ugly. And it caused Doofenshmirtz to laugh, and then Perry grabbed it, shot Doofenshmirtz. Oh, my face! And my face, like, ah. It's like nothing changed about his face at all.
It's very sad.
It is. I mean, though something similar does happen again later on in Night of the Living Pharmacists, as you're well aware. Yeah, the mindless, repulsive pharmacists. It's the universe having a cruel joke at my expense. So, yep, the seeds for that were laid as early as season 1. So even then, the universe is like saying, like, "Yep, you're ugly."
Didn't even have to eat a sundae to do it.
Nope. I'm easy like Sunday morning.
So that's the other thing to mention with the SpongeBob comparisons. There's a lot of Squid's Day Off here. There's a lot of just like you can't. Like, have you finished those errands? There's a little bit of that. There's not one for one, obviously, but it's just the fact of being driven so mad that you're gonna go out of your way like that.
Have you finished those errands? Have you finished those errands? I will destroy the Krusty Krab. Oh, God. Anyway. So it's like, of course, Perry escapes by breaking Lance Ward. Well, Lance Ward breaks himself free, but I love how Perry gets away from that and survives by slowing down his descent. And then he hits, and then after perverting the ray, as Doofenshmirtz calls it, with something good, like rebeautifies himself, well, Vance Ward, the crowd, and then himself, and then transforms Doofenshmirtz's balloon into the I Love Goodness balloon. My balloon! But, God, like, of course he doesn't turn back Doofenshmirtz's chair and TV, which the TV becomes like a plastic lawn chair, and the TV becomes like those little box tube TVs.
I mean, when he hit the balloon at the end, did the TV turn back, or was it still like that?
It's not actually shown, but I can only assume.
I mean, was there a big TV there or not, Jacob? Was it like, it's from a distance, but still you can tell, is it a big TV at the end or not?
No, I couldn't see anything. We could barely even see Doofenshmirtz in that shot.
Well, I know that. Yeah, the big question is like, oh god, did we make Doofenshmirtz handsome, but we didn't show it?
Like I think it only just affected the balloon.
Yeah, I know. Ultimately, that's probably it.
So Doofenshmirtz lost his TV and chair. R.I.P. A moment of silence for the chair and TV. Okay, moment's over.
Yep. It was nice.
It was nice. Yeah, there was definitely a nice TV and chair. But anyway, and of course, after the concert was rebeautified, Candace gets to enjoy actually singing on stage with Jeremy at the end, which is nice and pleasant, But it looks like everybody. It's like ultimately at the end, everybody enjoyed their do nothing day, except for Doofenshmirtz. But of course, the boys do find Perry and with handsome movie actor Vance Ward. He seems much faster on TV. All right. Any other final words, Dragon?
It's again, it's just I think it's a really. I just think it's a really good, well thought out episode there. Just again, I question that part of Doofenshmirtz's plan about the whole Ugly-inator thing, but it's kind of the charm of Doofenshmirtz. He's not thinking about these things. We go full tilt with showing Candace just going completely looping, completely crazy, which we've been kind of circling around for a bunch of episodes now.
Yeah, where she basically just wouldn't even be able to get them in trouble at this point because she built the whole thing herself.
Yeah. So we're shaking up format in interesting ways here. This is a solid one.
As you can see, there's a lot of episodes that do stick to that formula, but you'll get the ones like these where they kind of flip things around a little bit, play with the formula, call things out, things like that.
I love the fact that the boys literally did nothing the whole episode. I think that's the best part of all.
Well, all they did was just lay in the grass all day.
Exactly.
And sometimes don't you just have the urge to just go outside and on a nice summer day and just sit back in the grass and just let the breeze flow over you?
Me personally, no, but I understand the sentiment.
Well, okay, but but maybe not necessarily laying outside in the grass or anything, but just laying in bed doing nothing, maybe getting up to get a snack or something. But everybody has a do nothing day every once in a while. Sometimes you just want to sit back, do nothing, maybe watch some cartoons, like we're doing now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Your mileage may vary, and your do nothing day may vary, but that's kind of the beauty of it. And part of the thing with this show is you can make every day what you want. All right. So, any last words, or do you want to cap it off here?
I think we should cap it off. So, folks, heads up. Next week, we're going to be altering our day for Phineas and Ferb.
Yes, perspective. Like, you want to talk about the perspective day, or
Perspective Day.
like what day we're planning on doing it next week?
Oh yes, yes. So we're the Perspective Day. Yeah, we're looking at Wednesday at the moment, folks. Let's say it's between Wednesday or Thursday. We're likely looking at Wednesday unless something happens.
And that means no episode on Friday next time then.
Exactly.
So it's like be sure to tune in on either Wednesday or Thursday, but we'll put the video up on time for you guys to see it. And so that closes for this week. Join us next time on the Phineas and Ferb Recap-inator, where the boys unleash a caveman, and then go on an epic search for Buford's pet goldfish. Good night, everybody.
Need to quiet the trap.
Good night, Harry the Platypus.